Welcome to another episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast. And the reason why we call it the Entreprenudist Podcast, because it is the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. I'm going to be talking to somebody very special today. The name of his company is the 𝘃𝗶𝗿𝘁𝘂𝗹 Agency, I believe. I think he's gonna clear me up if it's not. But so if you know the name of his company, you know what we're probably going to be talking about. That's right, fly fishing. Oh no, but we're going to be talking about something near that. But just so you know, before we get into it, this episode is sponsored by the Entreprenudist Podcast and ShieldWolf Strongholds. If you need life insurance, if you need a trust, thank ShieldWolf Strongholds. Go to ShieldWolfStrong.com. All right, please tell people who you are and what do you do.
CEO of 𝘃𝗶𝗿𝘁𝘂𝗹.com. It's a home services marketing agency. So we're now just getting to about 30 people at our company. We serve about 100 clients, a lot of roofing businesses and other home services. So plumbing, HVAC, that kind of stuff. The non-sexy home services, you know what I mean? And I do marketing for it. I'm the CEO, I'm the founder, but I also do our marketing. So that's right now my other job besides running the company is marketing our company.
Okay, so how long have you been doing that? So if somebody say, "Hey, what do you do?" How long have you been doing that?
Yeah. We've been doing this full time. I went on my own 7 years ago, and the short answer to what we do. So we do website design, search engine optimization, and Google Ads. So those are our three services. And we do oh shit type businesses, meaning, oh shit, my plumbing is broken. Oh shit, my roof is leaking. Oh shit, I don't have AC or heat. You know what I mean? I like the home, oh shit, home services because there's an immediate need, right? I like an immediate need business, and it tends to be a little bit higher ticket and those types of things. I started out making websites. I started out in this field 10 plus years ago, and then I worked for another agency, and then I went out on my own. I don't know if I thought it would be easy or, all that, but before that I did music. So rock band down in Texas. And then I went and worked for another agency here in Minnesota for 3 years. I became their marketing director, and then I went out on my own 7 years ago. So I've been full time, and it's literally today was my first. Maybe it was yesterday. Was my first day 7 years ago doing this. So I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about entrepreneurism. It's it definitely shows you what you're made of, and that's good and bad all the time, right? It is pain, a lot of pain, but it's also I don't think I'd have it any other way, for me. Just
Oh yeah. So you still you embracing it, because I think we're along the same schedule. I'm actually about 6-7 years into entrepreneurship. What's something you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
I think maybe just because I'm learning about it right now, about gross profit and net profit. I think so. I'm just learning about how important that metric is. It's also in comparison with other companies. I compare myself all the time, and I'm I'm only at $4 million revenue. That person's at $10 million revenue. But there's different types of business, and that $10 million company could have the exact same gross profit as I do. And I think it would have made me feel like I was further along if I would have known that, because there's a lot of different types of businesses, and there's so many businesses where they have a high cost of goods sold, and even outsourcing a lot of stuff, it counts against your gross profit. So if you don't, if you outsource, if you have a lot of 1099 employees, then you have a lower gross profit because that gets taken out from what I understand. So I think just maybe a little bit more money stuff. But at the same time, man, if I would have known all that money stuff, I don't know how good it would have been. Like I was talking to my wife this morning, I'm like, it's better that we're learning about the money stuff now because we didn't have enough money to count back then. You know what I mean? Like you can't, you can only split like 100K so many ways. Like I'm not going to I'm glad that I waited a little bit because now it's more fun to do math when there's real money involved. Like I was terrible at math in high school. I was terrible. But like now that it's money, I'm getting better at math, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now that you got something worthy of counting, right? Like first they wanted you to count ink on a paper. Nah, this is, I like counting this. So let me figure out a better way of counting it. And what you're talking about is something that I discovered a long time ago. Like when I used to hear people talk about revenue, gross revenue, and it got to the point I was hearing it so much that I had to Google what it was like when I was younger. And then I saw, okay, gross revenue means all the money you take in before expenses and before taxes. And I'm like, okay, that's good to know, but it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. Right. And that $10 million company that you're talking about, they're doing a gross revenue of $10 million, but their cost of goods sold, their COGS is completely depleting it. They made 10 million, but they spent out 10,100,000. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. That $5 million company grossed 5 million, but after all of their cost of goods sold and all of that good stuff, maybe they're have maybe a 20% profit margin, $1 million compared to that other company. So I'm glad what you learned now is taking over because there are those three types of a business. You got the marketing and the sales. Then you got the admin and operations, and then you got finance. But without somebody like you, what you do for people, bringing in the money, there's no job for operations and finance. When somebody brings you in to do what you do, which I'm assuming is on the marketing and the sales side.
Getting home service business is more leads.
Do you not running into any pushback from the other departments?
As far as I just had somebody on my podcast about finance. She's profit focused, fractional CFO type person. And I get, when I talk to people like that, it is a different discussion because I do think there's a different kind of brain that wants to do accounting. You know what I mean? Which is even a sales focused organization or a sales focused guy. Like we work with a lot of roofers, for instance, right? They're very sales forward, but they to get somebody back there that's super good with accounting, so crucial. But that person that's really good with accounting probably would never make a 30-person company. Like a lot of these accounting type people are not the same people that are going to take the crazy risks because it doesn't make sense on paper. And that's talk about bearing it all. So much of our first 5 years did not make sense on paper. It just looked like we were wild people. We were just out here just trying to get revenue, not counting everything perfectly, but just trying to get revenue. I think that that's good. I think that entrepreneurs should, for those first 5 years, you need to put yourself out there. You need to get clients, customers. You need to get as many as you possibly can and not worry about the numbers so much. And then as time goes on, you need really good numbers focused people, but I just think the accountant type people are so crucial, but you can't let accountant type people hold you back from growth. You know what I mean? I know that sounds rude as fuck, but I'm you gotta kind of take some wild risks kind of guy. Like and I mean, like, yeah, all marketing guy, of course he's going to say that. Yep. And my numbers look pretty good now. Like, I mean, like 5, 6, 7 years in, then you can really optimize the numbers, and like businesses need to do that. Like, it's crucial to like get really great money people on your side. But you got to figure out, like, for us, it's 10% on marketing. We spend 10% of our revenue. And like for a lot of like home service businesses, in particular, our clients with a lot of the roofers, it's more like 3 to 5% because of the high cost of goods sold. So it's good to know these other sides of the business so that we don't make dumb recommendations. Like, I'm learning more about how to make good recommendations to people. It's if you have a high cost of goods sold, or like, like it's really kind of based on that gross revenue, or sorry, that gross profit, because mine might be higher 10%, but we don't have as high of cost of goods sold. So like, to me, it's a little bit more based on that. If you have a really high cost of goods sold, the other exception apparently is, and I don't know a ton about this, but like consumer packaged goods, like any types of like food or toys or anything that's packaged and sold in stores and stuff like that, they have a very high marketing percentage budget on average, sometimes as high as like 40 or 50%, apparently, because to get enough awareness out there that people want to purchase your thing, it just is more expensive. So, I mean, I like looking at percentages and marketing, and I think knowing a little bit more about those other sides of the business helps me not make dumb recommendations. If I was telling our clients to spend 10%, it would actually be unwise for most of them.
Now, because what you're doing, because you could easily just say, I'm going to create a dope website for you. I'm going to increase your SEO. And they're going to get an influx of people. But it sounds like you're also having conversations about, all right, how much money are you making off of this? And has your company's business model always been like that? No, we've always kind of been pushing towards that, because when we first started, we didn't know enough to take, like, it's a risk to be very involved on that side. Like, let's look at how many, because we look every month at how many customers they got from what we did. Like we talk through that with them. And that's scary. And that would have been very scary if we did that right at the beginning. So it took us years and years. Only this last couple of years have we started to look that closely at it, because we gained confidence in what we are doing so that we could inspect the result with our clients. And it probably took a lot of failure to get to that, right? Like, and probably a lot of failure that I didn't analyze super closely. Once again, it takes a lot of risk on the front end of a business to like slowly build it up to the point where you have the confidence to look with the customer and inspect the result and say every single month, okay, how much ROI did you get on this? And so we weren't always that sophisticated, and most marketing companies probably aren't going to do that, because it actually, at a certain point when I decided to do that, I knew it was actually possibly risky to the point where it could blow up my business when we did look at it with our clients. Because if we did look at it really, really closely, I had an inkling that it wasn't going to look bad, right? But when we decided to look at it really closely, we could have looked at it really closely and been like, oh, there's no customers that have actually come from what we did. Wow.
So we had to take that risk.
Forced accountability. Because it seems like what you're saying is your company was so good, and I want to let you know where my head is, because I don't know. It seems like from the stuff that I'm hearing you saying about your positive outlook on failure, about your self-awareness, about your accountability, about all of that stuff, I think either you and I are reading the same books. We're doing something, but are we on the same wavelength? But the way we think is so much the same. what I heard when you told me, we just started out doing whatever. I don't know if you ever heard of the double slit experiment, but basically, what have you never heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
So, all right. So what they did was they fired particles at two slits, and on the other side of the particle was a whiteboard, and then they had two slits. And when they fired the particles at the two slits, on the other side, the board was completely covered in particles. And what was supposed to happen was when they fired it at those slits, they were just supposed to see two slits of particles and the rest of the board is clear. But once again, when they fired it, the whole board was covered. So they was thinking, like, they was hypothesizing that maybe it's the particles are bouncing off of each other. And because they're bouncing off of each other, it's causing the entire thing to be covered. So what they did was they set up this way to monitor the particles to see exactly what happened. And then as soon as they started monitoring it, that's when the particles did what they expected to do, where it was expected to make both of those slits. I truly believe that all truths are parallel. When I heard you tell that story, when you're able to just go at it and not have that financial accountant mindset of what's supposed to happen because this is what I see on paper, that's when you get the first part of that experiment where anything can happen. Anything can happen. You don't know how it's happening, but it's happening. Yeah. But once it starts being monitored based off your time that you've just been doing it, figuring it out, now you know what's supposed to happen. Now that you're monitoring what's supposed to happen is happening, your clients are winning.
Totally. Yeah. And I think also just like by seeing it now, we can adjust significantly, right? Like, and adjust to the right things.
No, that's good, man.
I'm not really sure if we would be where we would not be anywhere near we are today as far as effectiveness if we had not done that essentially experiment, like to be able to look at the results over and over and over again, because we're doing this every single month, right? And then adjust, because now we're held. You want to figure out what is the result that we really want, and then how do we hold ourselves to that result as closely as possible. What the client really wants. What is the client that the result that the customer actually really wants, and then if we could hold ourselves to that and look at it every single time, would we get better? Yes, we would. So how can we hold ourselves to that, even if it fails? Frankly, behind the scenes, they're going to hold us to that anyways. You know what I mean? Like, so for us, it was more like, let's get visibility around that, and then we'll fire ourselves if we're not doing it. You know what I mean? Essentially, like we're essentially firing ourselves, but we're having more visibility around the thing that the customer actually cares about. Even though it's
aggressive scary. Aggressive accountability, what it sounds like. And so you mentioned you prefer working with the oh shit businesses.
Yeah.
How, because I know there's some companies that probably will work with any industry. What's the reason that your company has, the Hook Agency has honed in on those industries, those specific industries?
So a coach asked me if I wanted to, a business coach told me to niche, right? That was one of the things. We had already been working with a roofer and a couple other home service businesses for a while. So then as we started to do that, like it was easy because we had testimonials for those businesses. So we could, so as I was pushed in by my coach and the fact that we had track record with these types of businesses, it was very like it took 4 years to actually ever like commit to that though. And it's actually 2021, July, where we said no more. We're not taking any other kinds of businesses. Frankly, actually, I think we still have a wealth management business, by the way. Like we still have a couple old clients like that were, we have a dentist and we have like, you know what I mean? Like just ones that that stayed on for years and years. But like we stopped saying yes to anybody outside of that niche. So that was kind of, that was the moment, 2021. My wife it was actually my wife's final decision to say no. She's just said like, we're not doing as good of work for these other types of businesses. Like we may have some one-off things where it's working, but like for the most part, these businesses, because we have 30 of them or 50 of them or however, like we have so much better work for them than we have these other ones. And we just don't have the certainty that we did. So it was my wife's decision. It was because the work was higher quality. And I did have an inkling that sales and marketing would be easier. You can imagine if your absolute ideal type of customer, if they congregate in groups of hundreds and you could go directly to them and talk to them, and then everything that you'd ever done as a company relates to what they're doing, how much more that message would resonate with them. And so that's kind of what it's done for our sales and marketing over time. It's made every dollar that we spend easier and go farther because we know who our ideal customer is. It's a $3 to $15 million home service business, particularly roofers that are growth mode, that love their family, that like are, like we kind of already know, right? Like, so we can speak to those people and our words go farther because we understand their problems. We get them deeply, like what they care about. We understand. We partly, niching for me is also like, I know that you talk about things a certain way when you niche, you know what I mean? Like when people talk about things a certain way and you can just kind of match their tone and then give them context, like stuff that they didn't even know about businesses like theirs. Dude, now when I'm talking to roofers, like I know about their type of business. I've talked to hundreds of roofers in the last 2 years. They've talked to 20. They've talked to 50 at most. I've talked to hundreds. I have more context than they do, even on their own business. Isn't that wild? Like, so like the niching thing just allows, and like there's niching and then there's micro niching. So our initial niche was contractors and then micro niche was roofers, and the micro niching went so much further. So to me, if I was to encourage anyone, you think you're niched, niche again, and you'll go further fast.
Niche down, because I like what you're describing. It's a book called Built to Sell, to where they talk about this exact. Oh, you like that book?
Yeah, I read that. Yep.
Hey, they talk about the exact same thing because he was at that moment to where he's just everything to everybody in this marketing, or he can specialize in making company logos, right? And his business coach, he came to him and said, "Oh, this company, they wants to give us, I think the contract was maybe for several $100,000. I don't recall, but the coach said, "Hey, tell them no. Either you're niching or you're niching." And what's happening is because you are being a generalist, you're having to hire a bunch of generalists instead of niching down. Now you can scale by hiring a bunch of specialists. And that's what y'all do, specialize. And it sounds like you partner with your wife in your business. Did that just happen naturally, or it was like, oh man, I need you, honey? Or was it, how did that work? How did y'all end up bringing it together?
Yeah. So about when I first went into business, I knew I needed to learn to sell. So I studied Grant Cardone and I took his whole course and I was doing everything and I was selling like a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now this is the Nudist podcast, so we should be allowed to swear on here, I hope.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, we got this big sales thing happening and every single thing I sell needs, maybe a little bit more help than I can do. So I have like a freelancer that's helping me. I got another freelancer that's helping me, but I really wanted somebody to help me that I trusted and think is smart. My wife happens to be smart and I YOLO'd it. You know what I mean? I don't even know if it was wise. I know a bunch of people told me it was not wise. And I certainly get why that, I get it now, why that might be the case, but I did. I YOLO'd it. And so 4 months in after I went out on my own, and then I hired her. And 2 weeks after I hired her, she was working at a corporation. 2 weeks later, after I hired her, they laid off her whole department.
Perfect timing.
She did not have any inclination or she did not have any hint from what I know that they were about to do that. So the lesson in that for me was that risk is happening all around you no matter what. Whether or not you take it or it's taken for you, there's risk. And I just was happy that we took that risk and brought her in, even though we thought, hey, it'd be nice to have this $40,000 like corporate salary, right? Like, and that first year together, her and I did $360,000 in revenue.
Wow. That's amazing. And I've heard that, they say it's not wise to work in your business with your spouse, but I've heard that, but I've actually seen more times than not, those are the best teams. Yep. I've seen more times than not, those are the best teams because, you know each other's strengths, you know each other's weaknesses, and you have, a mutual benefit of getting this thing done.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for better or worse, when you're taking a walk at the end of the day, you solve a couple problems then too, we complement each other really well in that way. So like it has affected, I would say there's a little less magic, a little less romance sometimes, but it is very good for the business. And I still love the heck out of her. And I'm still, I've got enough romance and can't mess up I got romance for days. I'm just saying that, but ultimately, you know what I'm saying? Like, it does have its give and take. So I can't be an advocate for it, but I certainly am grateful that we did that.
Absolutely. What would you say when you go and analyze a roofer's website? Is there nothing that most roofing websites get wrong? Like, soon as you look at it, all right, this is typical, you got this wrong.
Yeah, the first one is, and this is for all businesses actually, focusing on their company more than the customer. That's something that you may be doing wrong right now. So an example, let's say if we went to a roofing company's website and it said, best roofer in, Philadelphia, that's about you. That's like you, like if I went up to you at a party and I said, hi, I'm the best marketing guy for roofers, like that, I shook your hand and you'd be like, oh, this guy is really full of himself. But what if I came up to you and said, hey, what's something in your small business right now that's a pain? Like, I'm curious. I'm a curious person. Or if you're on a roofer's website and it said like, keeping your family safe and dry, that would be about you, the customer, keeping your family safe and dry. So that's what the feeling that we want to give to our customers. We want to give them the feeling we're talking about them, and even like implying the pain that they might be experiencing now. Like copy, like an example of positive copy might be like a lot of contractors don't answer the phone when you call. We have a 24/7 texting service. Well, we'll get back to you. I don't know exactly what it would be, but you know what I'm saying? We're on it in communication, and we'll fix that problem by being the most communicative contractor that you've ever worked with. And if you don't solve the pain in the customer, then your website is probably leaking leads. So whether you're a contractor, home service business, or any kind of small business, you got to focus on their pain and how can I make this about them? So I give people two things to remember this. Get your wee off the website. So if it says the word we, anywhere it says the word we, switch it to you. So how can we say it? You. And then the second one is read it to your wife or a lady in your life or somebody that's kind of like an ideal customer. A lot of home service businesses, it is the woman of the house that's making these initial conversations, like 65% or something like that. So read it to them out loud and say, how would this feel if I was just having a conversation with you? And what you'll find is a lot of your websites are 1, boring, 2, about you, and 3, just corporate No one wants like when we're a small business, a lot of us make our website so corporate-y because we're trying to make up for something. But what if I told you, like, just cut through the noise, right to your ideal customer, like you actually are talking to somebody, and then say what you'd really say, and then get rid of all the corporate bullshit, because people deal with people. And for most of us, that will be a competitive advantage. If we don't look like we're like this big, sterile corporate company, we look like we're friendly and human. Maybe I won't swear, but maybe I will say, hey, I know most of you think companies like this suck. However, we've done a few things significantly different than most businesses in our industry. We've done this. One, we're going to work with you one-on-one, or whatever it happens to be. But it's okay to cut through the corporate speak and just really talk like,
because what you're saying, because I'm tying everything together, man, because I heard you describing your preferred customer, the roofer that loves their family. You were describing a customer persona. And when you have that customer persona with the behaviors, with the habits, with the jobs to be done, you're able to talk directly to them. And even though 'cause one thing that I share with my clients, I say, if you're trying to sell to everybody, funny thing is you end up selling to nobody. But if you know that customer persona and you're able to talk directly to them, because guess what? This copy or this written portion of your ads or your website, John down the street is not going to relate, but maybe Jim is, because you're talking directly to him. So you get that customer persona, you get your wee off the website. And I like the double entendre of that, because you thinking wee, you thinking your ego. You got a big ego. So you got to be you. I did this, I did that. But we did this, we did that. Get your wee, get your ego off of the website. And start looking more toward that customer persona. What are their hurts, and talk directly to them, and like it's a real conversation.
And something I always say is like the capital Y, the U, like of your ideal customer. I always say I like the capital Y, because it's like almost like the deity of your business is the capital Y. The customer is like everything. And if you put the word you onto the website more, wherever you saw the wee, then you're going to have a much better experience, I think.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, man. Yeah, I'm a little, you made me a little insecure about my site, man. I'm going to be looking it over. But that's some real good information. Okay, so being that you've looked at so many.
I want to give you one more. One more thing about websites to improve your website. I call them trustimonials. So, and is your website ShieldWolfStrong.com?
Oh man, you about to beat me up. All right, yes, it is, sir. Let's do it.
No. I'm going to give you one really actionable thing. I just want one more really actionable thing. Everyone could use this. In addition to video testimonials, if you don't have them, which is, I think, one good video testimonial will make your entire marketing budget worth it next year, right? But the one thing, I call it a trustimonial. It includes a picture of the person who left the review. So you've got these reviews to amp it up. It's really good to have these client reviews. Add a Google logo and the 5 stars. If it was left on Google, this is ideal that they'd be left on Google. Google logo, 5 stars, and a picture of the person smiling who left that review. To me, all those components with a short excerpt that's representative of the tone that you want, the picture of the person, the 5 stars, and the Google logo is what I would call a trustimonial, because a lot of reviews on websites are average customers are not going to trust them. So once we get the picture and the 5 stars in the Google, like we can start to trust them. So it allows people to trust your reviews more. And besides being very customer focused, my thing is websites, it really exists to get trust. So as you're looking through this website, as you're looking through your website, really think it through the eyes of like, everyone's skeptical. How can I like cut through that and make it so it's just trust? Video testimonial and the trustimonials thing, I think would be the biggest upgrade besides that you focus that you could do this next year.
All right. So this is what we're going to do, everybody. Everybody within the sound of our voices, you're going to visit ShieldWolfStrong.com and if I don't have my testimonials updated to a trustimonial as the way Tim described it, and if I do not have a video added with an actual person giving an actual testimonial or a trustimonial, I need y'all to spam my comments and tell me that I need to pay more attention to experts like Tim. But not. You just changed my way of thinking. I will be updating the sites to a trustimonial. Trust me. All right. So being that you believe and you're so confident in your abilities now, after 7 years, that you're willing to monitor the cost of these goods sold by your customers, is there nothing that you know of that roofers are typically overpaying for? Like when you look at their cost of goods sold, you be like, I think you're overpaying for this. Is there nothing that you can think of that typically when you see in their cost of goods sold, maybe they need to negotiate?
It's so funny because we were talking about how like I ask a very similar question on my podcast, which is, what do you think home service businesses are wasting time, money, energy, or effort on? Mm-hmm. And you just asked me the same basic question, and I got to think about it a second.
Oh yeah, and just to let people know before we cut the cameras on, like if you didn't know, Tim Brown is also an accomplished podcast host. What's the name of your podcast?
So I have 2. It's wild, but they each have an episode every single week. One is called Hook Better Leads, and it's on its 100 or 250th episode. And the other one is called HVAC and Plumbing Hustle, which is a new market for us that we're moving into. And I just know how to do podcasts, and that's been a good thing for us. So those are the 2, but feel free to check out either HVAC and Plumbing Hustle. Oh, yeah.
So what we were talking about was we ask all these questions and expect people to answer like that, and then somebody turn around and ask us the same question. We're like, let me think about that.
Okay, I've got one for you, bro. Okay. This is hopefully this isn't your business. What is your real business?
What do you mean?
Is it so ShieldWolf Strong is your main business and you're not like...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. ShieldWolf Strong is my main business.
Okay. Pretty sure. Okay. So my thing is marketing consultants and consultants in general, like consult. So we are a get shit done agency. We actually do the work. There are a lot of like consultants and things out there where they're guides, but there's some of them that are overpriced. Like it's like, very expensive and they don't offer a ton, like they're not like significantly. And there's also really expensive software. So like, I don't think you should be spending on like hundreds of thousands of dollars on software. Like, cause I don't think software is going to do your marketing for you. So that's kind of a hot take. Cause I think like some people think like the biggest, craziest, like HubSpot implementation or something is going to change their business. And my thing is like, the work is what changes your business. Like whoever's getting the work done. And I know that there's automation and stuff like that, but automation right now doesn't like solve everything for a business. You have to put in the work or somebody has to put in the work. So at this exact moment, I don't believe really super expensive marketing consultants or really expensive marketing softwares are ever going to do the job for you.
So if you're going to consult with somebody who does marketing, it sounds like you rather be consulting with a do it for you company as opposed to
I'm not like I would say almost like there are some like if somebody is teaching you how to do it, like that's a little bit different. Like if somebody is really teaching you, like I think teaching is a different thing. Like it, but still, like, what do you really need to spend on teaching? You know what I mean? Like there's so much information out there. Like, so I don't know. I guess it just comes down to how much you're spending on that. You know, like the only reason I'm saying that is partly because we compete in budgets for those things. Like when people are spending $100,000 on a software and then they don't have money for like ads, it's like, well, it doesn't matter how much you can sort these leads if there's no leads.
Absolutely,
we need to get leads so you can sort them. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not $100,000 to sort leads. It should be a little bit less than that to sort leads. You know?
Oh yeah, because that is like an old conversation. Because I know of companies to where their sales and their marketing department is amazing, because whenever I thought about the services that I needed, I instantly thought about them. And then their sales department is amazing because when you reach out to them, they're very responsive. They have a lot of questions, and then they constantly follow up without, being aggressive, but also letting you know, hey, we want your business. And then you thought of them first, you bought their product, and then once the operations start, you can't get nobody on the phone. And in your mind, like, this is like two completely different companies. Like, hold up. The way they describe themselves on the website and the way the interaction that I had with their sales department was astounding, but their operations leaves things to it be admired. How often do you get into where I'm bringing you plenty of customers, plenty of people that are ready to buy, but your operations is kicking them out of our funnel?
Yeah, that's honestly, so that happens enough that it is a thing for us. One of the reasons we try to work with companies that are already growing without us. Like, I don't think I'll ever make a company that's not going to go to 10 million, go to 10 million. Like, my company is not going to do that. Like, we're only going to accelerate how fast it happens. You know what I mean? Instead of 5 years, maybe we could do it in 3. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thing, is like, I don't think a marketing company can't fix operations problems. I think when it comes to that piece, like, it's fun to market, it's fun to sell, right? And then sometimes the operations part of it isn't as fun if we're real about it. That's true for a lot of businesses. But it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm okay with saying, like, we want a 70-80% at least, right, on the operations side, because you can make marketing and sales so much harder if you slip below like a 70. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not hitting like at least a 70% of what they expected, you are going to make marketing and sales super hard, and then it's not as fun anymore, right? So like, it has to match that quality. And if as an entrepreneur you ever see it slip below 70% of what people expect, then you have to stop what you're doing, which is tough. Like, and that's why I'm so glad I have an operations guy now. So like, I don't have to do this as much. I need to stop what I'm doing, go back and fix. Like, because it doesn't matter how hard I charge in sales and marketing if that's broken. Sales and marketing isn't as fun. And it happens like when you start to talk to people, like if you start to talk to people and there's less people like feeling that 5-star experience, then I don't want to be out at these, like we go to home shows and ask people their experience with us and do videos and stuff like that. And if it's not that high and I have to like go to the next guy, then I'm like, oh fuck, I would chill a little bit on sales and marketing, because I'm okay with shrinking. I don't want to, but I'm okay. I would have to shrink a little bit and go back and fix stuff, because ultimately I want it to be an outgrowth of the quality service that we get to do all this other marketing stuff. It's so much harder to sell and market stuff that you don't believe in or that isn't up to, where it should be. So I will always just go back and fix that stuff. Even if you're a salesperson at an organization, I think you should see what you can do to fix the service if it's ever like decreasing your belief.
And I see, I once you started explaining it, because I believe you said the minimum revenue of the companies that you typically work with are doing at least 3 million.
Yeah.
And I guess that is one of the indirect benefits of that being your target customer, because you can assume that their operations is already running smoothly at that revenue point. It's a fair assumption.
Yes, absolutely. I was just listening to an audiobook. Dan Sullivan is the self-managing company. I love Dan Sullivan. He's the guy who wrote Who Not How and Gap in the Gain and 10X is easier than 2X. And he's super. He's the mentor of multiple of my.
He's the mentor of, like, when I find people that I gravitate to mentor wise, and then I find out who their mentor was, it's typically Dan Sullivan. But go ahead.
That's amazing. I love that. He's the man, dude. And he's got so many short 2-hour audiobooks out there that you can go find. And they're like, it's almost like getting coached by him a little bit. Like, that's how I'm hoping. But he talks about, he was saying that, what was I going to say there? Oh, shit.
Yeah, because what we were talking about was,
now I remember. Sorry, it's the 100. He talked about they don't let people into their workshops unless they're making 100,000 personal income, and that's weird. It's kind of weird, but it's good in a way because he's saying like he has that as like we're not able to like take you up from the just the early part of business. Like you've gotten to a certain part of business, so then we're kind of like. It also has an indirect benefit by the network effects of those people that are making over 100,000. Then they can like affect the other people in that group in a way that they'd want to be affected. So it's a weird thing to do, and it feels judgy. And every once in a while, I get like we get pushback. We get people that are mad. We get people that are mad at us, and it makes me want to do a course or something like that. But it also, like, I just know it's not the right thing for us. And at a certain point, you just start drawing those boundaries and benefiting from them. And some people are mad at you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to decide who your customer is. I was a part of a business development program. And what they did was they put a lot of the top fast food chains, chicken fast food chains, through a survey and through a bunch of data and research, and come to find out, because you got chains like Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's, Raising Cane's, KFC, all of that good stuff, right?
They have my picture on the wall at Raising Cane's. Oh
yeah, absolutely. Now, and to your point, what state were you in when you first ate Raising Cane's?
I think Minnesota. So
the thing about Raising Cane's is they stayed along the middle strip. Like when it came to so what it is, they were talking about the survey. So the two chicken restaurants that got the highest survey when it came to quality and customer service was Raising Cane's and Chick-fil-A. It was like back and forth between Raising Cane's and Chick-fil-A, right? And one of the reasons that Raising Cane's had such high quality is because they were relatively a small chain and they were able to keep up with the quality of it, right? But they
also have so few items. Like their mode is like they have so few items that the items that they do have are really good. And that's why we only have 3 services. That's kind of the same principle. So
we specialize in what we specialize in. So and what they did was, guess which chicken restaurant was lowest in every category: customer service, quality, cleanliness. I'm not going to even make you think. What would you guess it was?
Churches.
It was actually KFC.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
KFC was lowest in almost every category, but when it came to revenue, they were the highest, right?
Crazy.
But here's the thing. That's the revenue. We have no idea about the operations costs, right? And what it is they decided that they are a volume business. KFC said, hey, listen, we're not going to be the cleanest. We're not going to have all the best food, but we're going to serve the most customers. We're going to get a high revenue, right? But the trade-off for the high revenue is we're not going to be able to make we're not going to check every quality. We're serving so many people. We can't check every box to make sure it's good.
Randolph, just entertainment break here for a second. What's your list from like 1 to 5 on chicken restaurants? I'll do mine too.
All right. So I would say, man, it's changed, man. Currently based off what it used to be, but it used to be that Popeye's chicken, that was my go-to, right? It's been rare that I've gone to Popeye's now and I felt satisfied, right? So currently I would say probably Raising Cane's is number one because it's like a rare delicacy. I barely see it. Now I'm starting to see it in different parts of the country, which means they're expanding. But I would say number one was Raising Cane's because it's like a delicacy to me.
All right, what are your other 4? I'm gonna do my list quick too here after you're done.
Go ahead, because I like to talk. So Raising Cane's, Zaxby's, Chick-fil-A, what else? I think that's all. I think that's all of them.
Your top 3. I gotta try Zaxby's then, man. Okay, so mine is Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A, Popeyes. I would have to say, basically those would be my top 3. I do love that chicken, that spicy Popeyes sandwich, man. That thing like went viral for a little while.
Man, I remember when the Popeyes biscuit, man, that was a delicacy. Now it's like it makes my mouth feel like I'm eating on chalk.
Oh no! I'll tell you what. I'm gonna try to convince my wife to go grab chicken after this. I'm hungry, bro. We got ourselves hungry over here.
Oh yeah, go ahead and do your thing. So, hey man, I know I want to definitely appreciate you for coming on. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I think it was a good interview.
Do you not have any positive affirmations that you tell yourself?
Yeah, I like to. My wife and I talked about this. We said we like to do hard things. And I also have been giving myself, just this last couple of days, I've been giving myself permission to feel satisfied, fulfilled, and inspired. Like I did this list. I think it was from the Dan Sullivan book, but he's like, what are the 5 feelings that you want to feel the most? And write down the 5 feelings that you want to feel the most, and then kind of like focus on those, because it's weird. But if you say to yourself, hey, I want to feel inspired, and you really tell yourself that, you're actually more likely to find things that will make you feel inspired. Just like how we goal set and then we see more of it. He says, get the 5 feelings that you want to feel the most. And so I've been like kind of trying to stoke those the last few days, and I'm like enjoying it. It's like it's easier than I thought.
Oh yeah, you become whatever you think about. How can people get in touch with you if they want to work with Hook Agency?
Yeah. Check out hookagency.com, or if you want to connect with me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/invigorated.
Oh, that's nice. All right. Thank you so much, Tim Brown with Hook Agency, for being a guest on the Entreprenudist Podcast, the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all.
Thank you, Ray, man.
You're welcome.